Let's talk about those numbers. First off, let me talk to you about rice prices because they're expected to rally about 22% this year, and that's coming off, I guess, what's happening in Thailand and paying farmers above market prices. Do you think rice is a place to be right now?
You can see across the food complex, so that includes grains like wheat and corn and soybean, as well as rice. There's a clear imbalance between supply and demand for these raw materials, and this whole complex is fairly recession resistant. So despite all the economic volatility that we have seen, because of the growing fundamental imbalance between supply and demand for these raw materials, you are seeing elevated price levels. And I think you will continue to see.
Yeah, we were talking about the median estimates of Bloomberg analysts predicting that rice prices will hit, again, record prices at the end of this year. Is that in line with your expectations, Sunny?
No. We expect rice prices to remain fairly firm. We don't see the highs of what we've seen in 2008, but we will expect to see firm rice prices.
Okay, well, let's talk about what's happening with cocoa and coffee. My goodness, if you had put money into cocoa and coffee, you would have made some pretty nice returns with the volatility we saw in equity markets, because coffee returned, what, close to 20% just in the past month. I mean, can we see these gains sustain for the rest of this year?
As far as cocoa is concerned, we are fairly bearish. We expect a fairly significant surplus this year. Our numbers are close to a 400,000 ton surplus for the crop that is just ending, the 10-11 crop. We also, however, expect, given growing conditions in the main producing countries, a slight deficit for the next crop. But overall, we believe that cocoa at this point in time is oversupplied, and there should be some pressure on cocoa prices in the near term.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
On coffee, we are fairly friendly to coffee prices. We believe that the difficulties in terms of adequate supply and declining stock consumption ratios will support coffee prices in the near term.
Yeah, I think when we spoke earlier on this year, you say we were pretty friendly to wheat and corn. Corn hitting an 11-week high overnight. Are these still the places that you expect big gains in?
Yeah, I think we are more friendly to corn than wheat, and it's largely on account of weather-related issues in the U.S. and potentially decreasing yields, which could have a fairly significant impact. And the continuing growth of demand from the ethanol and biofuel complex on feed raw materials like corn also adds to that equation.
Hey, Sunny, you know, I think this year, back in June, we had Olam raising about $600 million in the share offering for acquisitions. We still haven't seen any acquisitions since. Are you planning any for the rest of this year?
Well, we have an active deal pipeline, and as has been the norm in the last few years, we do between 3 and 5 or between 3 and 6 acquisitions every year. So we have an active deal pipeline, and if those deals fructify, you will see some earnings and value accretive transactions, which will be all in line with our strategy. We won't do any off-strategy deals.